Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Alcini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Hey everybody, welcome to Use a Whole Body, Mind, and Soul. This is Justin MIRIGLIANI with you. And this is my first time tonight producing the show, so I'm really excited about this. I get to see all the bells and whistles that are behind the scenes, so it's pretty cool. So we're going to talk about AI now. I'm just trying to get some things situated here. There we go. So AI. I do see a lot of people, especially in on social media, talking about AI and saying that I'm never going to learn it. I don't want to know about it. I have no desire to be a part of it. Forget it. And that's not feasible. It just isn't. It's the equivalent of the people in 1996 who said, I'll never use the internet and I will never get email. That is virtually impossible today. Think about it. How many people don't have email today? And if they don't, how would they stay in contact with most of the world? They would not. How would you be in business without an email address? How would that be possible? It wouldn't be. So how many people, I can remember this too, 96, I was in college. So I had a unique experience in college because the first 2 years, 93, 94 was my freshman year. 94, 95 was my sophomore year. We didn't have the internet at Cabrini. I went to Cabrini College. Back then it was college, then it was university, and now it's bought out by Villanova. But we did not have internet for the first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year. So I was old school, just like kids in the 80s or early 90s. And then in my junior year, we did have the internet. So I got to see both sides of it. I got to see what life was like in college without the internet, and then to see what life was like in college with the internet, which is pretty unique. Nobody else is going to have, my class is really the last one that would have a half and half. We were the only class in the history of the world to have a half and half like that. And it was really cool. But I do remember people saying that they had no desire to be a part of the internet. They didn't want to do it. They didn't, it's gonna fizzle out. It's not going to be something that is going to be here forever. It's just a phase, or even if it's not going to affect my life. Well, in 2026, here we are 30 years later. I think it's safe to say that the internet has been a humongous part of our lives, whether you wanted it or not. You didn't really have a choice. There was no way to stop it. And if you want to be in business, if you want to run a charity, like I do, whatever it is, you have to be able to be found. And the only way you're going to be found is through the internet. And now we're at AI. And in all honesty, I was afraid of it. Not that it was going to be super dangerous, although it can be, but I wasn't sure, and still am not sure, exactly what it's going to do to people as far as jobs, uh, ability to make money. There are some things that are coming to AI that are not good. There's no doubt about that. I would never say. In fact, they interviewed somebody, I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody who's on the cutting edge of AI. And they asked him, they said, um, what is your fear level with AI? And he said a 10 out of 10. And they said, what's your level of excitement about AI? He said, also a 10. Both are very high. So yeah, there are some scary things with AI. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're not, but you don't have a choice as far as what's coming. We none of us do. So you might as well take the good stuff too. You're stuck with the bad stuff. You're stuck with the things that are dangerous, the things that might cost people their jobs. You can't do anything about that, but you can accept the good stuff. Now, what good stuff, right? What could be good? Well, I'll give you some examples. First of all, making money. My business has been for the last 24 years now, 24th year, corporate training. And I've trained people on the Microsoft applications, soft skills like time management, conflict management, how to be a leader, all these different types of communication skills, all these types of what we call soft skills. Really, a lot of people should call them essential skills because those are the skills you really need to be successful. Obviously, computer skills are important too. But the business has been hurt by AI because people now are using AI to answer questions that they would need training for. So, for instance, if I would teach you how to build pivot tables, which for me is very easy, I've been doing it again for actually 26 years training, 24 with my own business. But, um, why would you need to be trained on pivot tables now? You could just tell Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI, to build you a pivot table. You just tell it, look, this is the data I want you to use, build a pivot table. And a pivot table is simply a tool that does an amazing job of analyzing large amounts of data. So let's say you had 50,000 rows of data and you had 60 columns of data, and you wanted to find out your sales in the third quarter for ice cream when it was in Northeast. You could just break it down any way you want, what the total sales were by rep. That's what a pivot table does. See, now you can go to AI and just tell it, I want a pivot table that does all this. You put in the prompt, boom, spits it out for you really easily. So less and less people need training on the applications that I've been training for all these years. So yeah, that's hurt. That's really taken business down. But as angry as I was about AI, and I was bitter about it, I have gotten calls from companies that are now saying, we need you to train AI. So opportunity is starting to come up from something that took opportunity away at the end of last year and into this year. I have used AI extensively since having to train it, since I was told that the company wants me to train it potentially every day, week after week for the foreseeable future. And that's exciting. What I've done with it's just amazing what it can do. Now, are there things it can't do? Yes. Is it always correct? No. But it is unbelievable that you could go on and search the internet with a tool that searches virtually every website that's on the internet in seconds. So I have helped people who wanted to find a new job. Now, in the old days, and when I say old days, just a few years ago, a year, 2, 3 years ago, if you were looking for a job, you would go on a site like monster.com or you'd go on Indeed, all these different sites to find jobs. But you had to do them one at a time. You go to Monster, you put in the job you wanted, and then you'd find jobs. You'd have to search for the area, your salary range, and then you'd have to do that on Indeed. Then you had to go to all the other ones. There are a bunch. I'm not going to name every one of them, but the two biggest ones are Monster and Indeed. Now you could go on and you could search on really any AI, whether it's ChatGPT, which is my AI of choice, Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI, or Gemini, which is Google's AI. You could just put in what job you're looking for. You can upload your resume and tell ChatGPT, I'll use as the example because that's what I used, what the person's looking for as far as job, what is in the area. You can tell what area, Philadelphia and 30-mile radius or whatever you want, what salary range you want, and what matches best to my resume. And in just a few seconds, boom, these job listings come up, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And it tells you by percentage how likely it is that you would be a fit for this job. I mean, why would you not want to use that? What would stop anyone from using a tool that does that? And I know that fear is a big part of it. I get it, because I have fear too about what it's going to do in the future. And it's just going to get bigger. It's not a matter of when, if, it is when. And the when is not really that far off. We're looking at probably 3 to 5 years before every one of us has a robot in the home. I know that sounds ridiculous. You're going to say, Justin, are you out of your mind? We're going to have robots in our house? Yeah. How many people said that about TV in the 50s? We're not going to have a TV in our house. We go to the movies. We listen to the radio. We're not going to need TV. Could you imagine being in a household that doesn't have TV right now? Virtually everybody has TV. Not everybody. There are some people who hold out, and that's fine. But most of us have a television, if not multiple televisions. So AI is really the same thing. It's something that is going to be a part of your life, just like the internet became part of your life. For good or for bad. Again, you're stuck with the bad stuff. I'm not denying that there are dangerous things with AI and things that are going to be painful, like people being replaced by AI in certain jobs. So what do? Do you just bury your head and say, forget it? AI is going to take over the world. I'm out. I'm done. I'm not going to get a job. I'm not going to work. I'm not going to even try. I mean, if you do that, then yeah, you are going to be left behind. There's no doubt about it. You will not survive that. So either you embrace it and move forward with it, or you don't and get left behind. I'm choosing to go forward with it. The fact that I have opportunities to train this is exciting because it means my business will pick up again. If I don't do it, then my business is going to be gone. I'm just going to have to end it and just get a job somewhere as a full-time employee, which is fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And if I have to do that, I will. But certainly when you build a business from the bottom up for 24 years, it's kind of tough to see it go away. So I would like it to revive if I can. And the only way it's going to happen is with training AI. There's no other way. I can't say, well, you know what, I have all the Excel classes. Now, look, I don't think it's a good idea to abandon Excel and PowerPoint and all these things and learn how to do things. Because I'll give you an example. If you want to build simple formulas, you could do it much faster in Excel than you could do it through AI. Because in AI, you have to put in the prompts, you have to upload the file. I could go into a file, because I've done it so long, where I could put in simple functions like sum, average, max, min, and then just create the formulas, autofill them down, and literally in seconds, I could knock out thousands and thousands and thousands of rows of a spreadsheet. AI could do it too, but not as fast because it would take longer to put all that stuff in than it would be just to build the formulas yourself. So part of knowing AI is knowing what you shouldn't use it for, what you should do manually instead of through the artificial intelligence. And that's what I'm starting to learn now. Now, does it make mistakes? Absolutely. I'll give you an example of one that I actually corrected it. A friend of mine told me that if you put in how many R's are in strawberry, it would get it wrong. So I tested it. I said, all right, how many R's are in strawberry? And sure enough, it said 2. There's 3, right? Strawberry. So there are 3 R's. So I said to ChatGPT, I said, you're wrong. It's 3 R's. It's not 2. And it came back and said, no, it's 2. So what I did was I said, well, wait a minute. I'm going to give you the numbers of the letter. So STR 3, right? The third letter. AWBE. So 8 and 9. 7 and 8. I'm sorry. No, 8 and 9. 8 and 9. So 3, 8, 9 are the letter R's in strawberry. And I told it that. Look at the third letter, the 8th letter, the 9th letter, and you will see that there are 3 R's. And it said, you are right. It's 3 R's. Now, if any of you go into ChatGPT and you ask it how many R's are in strawberry, it will tell you 3. And it will break it down for you exactly how I explained it to ChatGPT. So you're actually, when you're using it, if you're correcting it, you are making it better for everybody else because it learns. Now, that also can be a drawback because some people put in information that is incorrect and they can make ChatGPT or any other AI make mistakes. Now, ChatGPT, I didn't know this until recently. It is the basis for all of the other AIs that I'm using. Gemini uses ChatGPT. Copilot uses ChatGPT. So theoretically, no matter what you're on, whether it's Copilot, Gemini, or ChatGPT, you are using ChatGPT. Do you want to spend money unnecessarily? I would think most people would say no. Makes sense, right? Why would we spend money that we don't need to spend? Doesn't make sense. So why are people avoiding artificial intelligence to do simple things like create a briefing for you for a court case? I met a friend of mine tonight before the show, and we went over a court case that he's looking to. There was a vendor that's not paying him for work done, several $1,000s worth of business that he provided that they're not paying for. So he said, well, no lawyer wants to take this because it's not enough money. So the lawyers are saying, I'm not going to take this. It's not enough. So what is he going to do? Well, we went on to AI and he said, well, can AI help? And I said, absolutely. And we put in the contract that he had, just uploaded the contract. And I asked ChatGPT, I said, look at this contract and tell me if I haven't been paid. I said as if it were my business. If I haven't been paid since May and it was net 30 and I've completed the work, how likely am I to win a case and not have to go to court? I put it in. It told me 85 to 95% based on the contract, based on the fact that the contract wasn't paid in net 30 and well over that into May. And it said exactly the breakdown of how to create the briefing to give to the judge so that A, you can get your money, he can get his money back, and B, have it settle out of court. The best way to settle it out of court, which obviously is the cheaper way to go, is if you go to court, you're going to pay court costs and you're going to be in court for a while. So you lose work, billable hours to fighting your case in court. Now, in this case, he couldn't even find the lawyer to take it. But even if he could, why would you spend? So let's say it's $20,000 that he's going to get back if he wins the case, which he will. He'll win the case. It's pretty open and shut. Well, he can go to a lawyer and spend $10,000, and when he's done, he's got $10,000 himself, and the lawyer's got $10,000. Or he could just do it on ChatGPT for a simple case like this and save himself 10 grand. That's the better way to go. I'm not telling you that if you are convicted of murder or if you're in serious legal trouble, whether it's a divorce or criminal law, whatever it is, I'm not saying that you can replace lawyers in that case. But in instances where it's something simple, yeah, I mean, ChatGPT could save you time, could save you money. No doubt about it. My case with the resumes, when I was going on to look for full-time positions and see what was out there, I actually had to rewrite my resume several times. I had to go in and for whatever job that I was looking for, I said, look at the job um, placement, um, job description. Couldn't think of the word. Job description. I said, all right, for this job description, how likely am I to get this job? And also, can you rewrite my resume to match the job description more closely? And it did. And I said, could you make my LinkedIn profile match what I'm looking for in a position? And it did. It created my LinkedIn profile. You wouldn't know that unless I just told you, which I did. Is it cheating? No, it's using a tool to make it easier. And what I didn't expect from AI is it's made me think more before I write. And it's made me a better writer because it forced me to think more about what I write. See, I'm more of an emotional writer. I tend to be driven by emotion, anger, sadness, whatever it is. If I post on social media, a lot of times it is driven by emotion. And I'm learning through AI that I don't always have to be driven by emotion. That it's okay to be more logical and to step back. And you get the same message across, maybe even better, by being more controlled and being less snapped, where you're using anger or getting preachy, doing things that saying things that maybe people will not listen to because they feel that it's condescending. Again, is that cheating? No, it's making me a better writer. So that now when I write something, I think about it. Do I ever plug it into AI before I send it? Absolutely. Do you spell check your files before you send them out? I would think so. Most of us would do that. All of us should do that. You don't want to send something out with spelling errors in it. So the bottom line is, what are you going to do? Are you going to just hate it and try to hope it goes away? Or are you going to, I'm not going to say embrace it, but are you going to accept that it's a part of your life? The self-driving cars that are available right now. Now, they are not ubiquitous, of course, but they will be eventually. That's where we're headed. You're not going to be driving a car anymore eventually. It's going to be self-driving cars. Now, people say, well, that's dangerous. They're not going to be able to stop, right? I can't remember what the number is, but right now, already, self-driving cars are safer than human-driven cars by a pretty wide margin. And that will only get better in time. So some people don't like it. Some people will say, well, I like driving a car. I don't want a car driving for me. I want to drive my own car. Okay. I get it. But if it's safer, less deaths in car accidents, less injuries in car accidents, you still get to where you're going in the same amount of time that you did when you were driving. Do you just say, forget it? I don't want to do that because that's weird and that's new. We don't know that life yet. So it's got to be strange. Yeah, in the beginning it will be strange, sure. But eventually it's going to be like everything else. It's going to be natural. You won't even think twice about it. It'll just be. It happened before. Cars, horse and buggies, right? Horse and buggies were the, way to travel in the 1800s, late 1800s into 1900, early 1900s. And then cars came along. And I'm sure there are people who say, well, cars will never be as good as horse and buggy. Cars take gasoline. You just feed the horse. You don't have to pay for gasoline. And, it's weird to be in a motorized vehicle. Well, yeah, I'm sure people felt that way. But now it's odd to see a horse and buggy. It's nostalgic to see a horse and buggy. I mean, people take horse rides in Philadelphia, where I'm generally in the Philadelphia area, but that's for fun. It's not the mode of transportation that people have. If you want to go to California, how are you going to take your horse and buggy if you're going to drive? You can't. You can't go cross country on a horse and buggy, but you can with a car. You can with a SUV or whatever, a camper. We have planes. Some people probably thought planes too dangerous. You're going to put something in the air to fly like a bird. How are you going to do that? That's crazy. People get killed. Now people fly and don't even think about it. Is it weird to be in an airport? Do you feel like, gee, I'm in an airport. This is very, very strange. I don't know how I could do this. No, you get in the plane and you fly, because if you want to go across the country to California from the East Coast, you can drive for 3 or 4 days, or you could take a 6-hour flight. Now, unless you want to stop in many different places, you're not going to want to drive. You're going to want to fly. But I'm sure when the Wright brothers were discovering how to fly a plane, and when planes started to become more commonplace, people probably said, "I don't want to do this. It's weird. I don't recognize this. This is something strange. I don't want to be a part of it." Now everybody's a part of it. I want to train people on how to use AI. It's been very difficult to get people to want to learn it, because again, it's the fear factor. It's the unknown. But I know this. I don't know exactly where everything's headed. I really, and nobody does. There's nobody who knows exactly what's going to happen in the future, except for this. AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It can't be avoided. It will make life easier if you learn it. And if you don't, you're not going to be able to go forward. You're going to be left behind. People will lose jobs to AI only if they don't embrace AI, because the people who master AI will be the ones who get hired and kept. The people who want to fight against it, it's like swimming upstream. You're not going to fight it. You can't. You got to let, if you're in the ocean and you're in an undertow, you don't swim against it. You just ride it out until it breaks, and then you swim in, because you're not going to beat it. That water's too strong. You can't outswim it. And it's the same thing here. You can't fight this. You just can't. I didn't want to accept that for a long time myself, being in the industry. I fought it myself. I thought, you know what? I want to bury my head, and I don't want to do this. I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of what it might do. I'm angry that it took some of my training away and hurt my business. And then I said to myself, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can't avoid it. You gotta learn it. And not only do you have to learn it, but you have to train it if you want to stay in this industry. If not, you're done. Just the way it is. Now, what else can it do? It could create podcasts. You might say, that's crazy. How does it do that? You could upload a book into, I think it's Gemini that does this. I don't think it's any of the other ones yet. But you'd upload a book into Gemini, and you could actually ask it to create a conversation between two people. And it will literally sound like a national public radio talk show with two people who are not real people discussing it. It's a male and a female, and they talk about it. You would not know that it's not real. I would say probably 95% of people on Earth would not know. There might be a few people who are experts in this that would be able to tell. But I did it. I uploaded a book into, again, I think it was Gemini. It's been a while since I did it in the Gemini, and I told it, create a conversation as if you were on talk radio. And it did. It created a conversation between two people, and it wasn't mechanical. The female voice said something to the effect of, you know what I loved about this book? It was just a raw emotion and blah, 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 blah. And she got into it. And then the male voice said, I agree with you. I think that's a really good point. And can I add on to that? And then he went on and added on to that. And it went back and forth for, I don't know what it was, maybe 20 minutes, a half an hour. And then it was it. What do we do? Do we pretend that can't happen? Do we not take advantage of the good stuff? Do we just say, well, you know, I don't like that? And I get it that people are freaked out by it. I'm a little freaked out by it too. Now I put my own book. I haven't published it yet, but I put my own book in ChatGPT, and I said, "Can you read this book and let me know if it's ready to be published?" And it said, "Yeah, it's ready to be published." It read the book in a minute, maybe. It's an 84-page document, so it's about a 350-page book that it read, and said there are some mistakes in here, grammatical mistakes and punctuation mistakes, but every book has them, so it's ready to be published. Now, if you want to tighten it up, it said you could tighten it up. I mean, is that a bad thing? Did I not write the book? Is it cheating because I asked it for help? No, I don't think so. It's using the tool that you have at your disposal. Not cheating. You had to come up with the ideas. You had to write the manual first, the book in this case first. Now, the drawback, there was a song that hit the top of the country charts, I believe it was country, that was purely written by AI. Now I got a problem with it. That part I have a problem with. To have a work done, whether it's a song, a movie, whatever, that was not created by a person, but rather by artificial intelligence, that's where I start to have a problem with things. Even the music was made through AI, the music itself. So not only the lyrics, which is really easy to do, but creating the actual music for it was done by AI as well. Again, I don't think anybody would argue that that's a good thing. I think that's sad, really, because then how do you know what's real and what's not? It's a problem. But what do you do about it? What can you do to stop that truck from moving or that train from going down the tracks? There is nothing you can do. If you stand in front of it, you're going to get run over. You're not going to stop it. None of us can. So, how many times did I say it in this show? You're stuck with the bad stuff. You are. And I am. You're stuck with people cheating to get ahead. You just are. I am too. You know, it takes talent, or it took talent to write a song. It still does, but now AI can do it almost as well, if not better, than humans. You know, writing a screenplay. I wrote a screenplay, and I put it into AI, and it told me things that needed to be fixed. That to me is good. That's not cheating. That's getting somebody to edit it, in this case, artificial intelligence to edit. Now, here's the difference. If I just said, I want you to write me a screenplay about this, 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 and this, and then it creates a whole screenplay from scratch, yeah, that's cheating. Yeah. But using it as a tool isn't cheating. You know, if you can't, I'll give you an example with Excel. Most people don't know how to create advanced formulas like VLOOKUPs, HLOOKUPs, XLOOKUPs, things like that. And some of you are saying, what in the world is he talking about? What are lookup functions? And I'm not going to get into explaining that, but what you can do now is you literally can go into Copilot within Microsoft Excel and tell it, look at this file and create the formulas. You don't even have to know what formulas. You just say, look at the data and create formulas that will work in this file. And it will build the formulas for you. Now, it's not always going to be perfect. Sometimes you might have to fix it up a little bit. You might have to make some changes. And two people might not get the same answer. Again, a lot of people don't know that with AI. And I understand why. It's fairly new for most of us. It's been around since 2012. So a lot of people think this is a new phenomenon. It's not. It's not. It's been around since 2012. It's just now, over the last 2 or 3 years, that it's grown exponentially. And that's going to continue. It's not something that's going to change. My hope is that people learn to accept it. I'm seeing a lot of, I used to call it in my, when I was, and I still do train Excel, but I call, so I came up with the term Excel resistance. And Excel resistance is when people work at a company and refuse to learn how to use Excel, where everybody else is using Excel. And they just won't do it. They won't learn it. I don't want to learn it. I have no interest, none. How long can you do that in corporate America or in any corporation around the world and survive? I don't know how you can do it because virtually everybody around the globe uses Excel. And if you don't, you're not going to last long. And I have people taking Excel level 1 still. And they say, I don't want to do this. I get it. I understand that it could be a little intimidating, especially if you're older, if you're weren't brought up on software. I'm 51, and a lot of people my age didn't grow up on it. We didn't have Excel when I was a kid. We didn't have Word or PowerPoint. Now, when I got to college, we did, and then after college. So people my age and up can struggle with it because they didn't grow up with it. And people who are older than me by a decade or so are even less receptive to it because they say, well, I never had to do this before. Why do I have to do this now? Because the world changed. It changed. There really is no other explanation for it. It's not something that's out of the ordinary. It's just life. It changes. And either you adapt to it or you don't. I mean, you have a choice. But what life do you want to live if you're not going to adapt to it? And you make other people's lives harder too when you don't adapt. Because if I'm in a company and I'm using Excel and I send you an Excel spreadsheet and you come back to me and say, well, you know what, I don't like Excel. I don't use it. I can't figure this out. Well, now I have to do all the work. You can't collaborate with me if you don't know how to work with it. So now it's pushed on to everybody else. How long is a company going to put up with that? I got to be honest with you. If I ran a company, I would give everybody an opportunity to learn what they needed to learn, and I would give them training, and I would offer as much as I could. But if my business was hurting because people didn't want to take advantage of that, and they said, well, I'm not going to do it. You're not going to make me do it. I would have to go in another direction. And not to be mean and not to be nasty, but if it's hurting my business, if I'm running a business and I need to make money, because every one of us, we don't work for free. We work because we need to make a living. That's why they pay you to go to work, because it's not fun. If it was fun, you would have to pay to do it. Work, you get paid. So if I'm losing money because somebody is not willing to learn, I can't keep them on. I mean, it might sound cutthroat, but it's not, because if you give everybody the opportunity to do something and they just won't do it, they just won't budge, well, then what are you going to do? You don't have a choice. Do you want to be in that position yourself? Do you want a company to look at you and say, look, you just don't know AI, and we need people who know AI? You may say, well, I can get the job done. It only takes me 3 hours. Well, guess what? If somebody else is interviewing for that job and they know AI and they can get the job done in 5 minutes, you're not getting the job. And you shouldn't get the job because you're costing more money. Time is money. If you take more time to get a job done, you're costing that company money. They see that. You don't have to love it. You don't have to love Excel either. You don't have to love Word. You don't have to love PowerPoint. You don't have to love any of this stuff. But you have to accept that it's part of your life now. Get ready to wrap up, but I just want to, I mentioned something earlier. There could be robots in the house. Yeah, there could be robots that are in your house. How about Roomba? That's been around for a long time. It's not new. It's going to get more advanced, but you're going to have robots that are going to be vacuuming your house at some point, just like the Jetsons. It's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And that when is not far off. We're 3 to 5 years away from that. Just is what it is. I hope you'll come and take some training from me. You can go to www.justin I'm sorry, justforutc.com. And you can email me at justin@justforutc.com. My cell number is 610-324-5545. I am training people with their own work. I'm not training them on abstract information. I'm training them with their own work, and they're not only learning, but they're getting their work done at the same time. So it's a win-win. But yeah, you have to accept where we're headed and where we're going to be. All right, my friends, thank you for joining me this week. I really do appreciate it. I will see you back here next Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to tracycramperkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.